How do you know if you're stuck in an emotionally abusive relationship? Emotionally abusive relationships can be incredibly difficult to recognize, especially when you're in the midst of one. You might be wondering if the way your partner talks to you is normal, or if their behavior is just a sign of them caring deeply about you. The truth is, emotional abuse can manifest in many ways, and it's essential to be aware of the warning signs. In this video, I'll be discussing 7 key signs that you might be trapped in an emotionally abusive relationship. These signs can help you identify whether your partner's behavior is acceptable or if it's a sign of something more sinister. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of what emotional abuse looks like and how to recognize it in your own relationship. So, let's dive in and explore these signs together. It's time to take back control and start prioritizing your own emotional well-being. Constant criticism is a classic sign of emotional abuse. If your partner is always finding fault in you, whether it's the way you look, the things you say, or the way you do things, it can be incredibly damaging to your self-esteem. You start to feel like you're never good enough, like you're constantly walking on eggshells, waiting for the next criticism to come. This type of behavior can be very subtle, but it's essential to recognize it for what it is, a form of control. Your partner might say things like, "I'm just trying to help you," or "I'm only saying this because I care about you," but the truth is, constant criticism is a way of eroding your confidence and making you more dependent on them. If you find yourself constantly justifying your actions or trying to prove yourself to your partner, that's a major red flag. You should feel supported and encouraged by your partner, not belittled and criticized. Constant criticism can also lead to feelings of anxiety and depression. You start to feel like you're never good enough, like you're a failure. It's a vicious cycle that can be incredibly hard to break. Manipulation is another common sign of emotional abuse. This can manifest in many ways, from your partner playing the victim to making you feel guilty for things that aren't your fault. They might twist situations to make you doubt your own reality or make you feel like you're the one who's crazy. Manipulation is a classic tactic used by emotional abusers to control their partners. They might say things like, "You're imagining things," or "That never happened," even when you know it did. They might even deny previous agreements or conversations, making you feel like you're losing your mind. If you find yourself constantly second-guessing yourself or doubting your own perception of reality, that's a major warning sign. You should feel confident and secure in your relationship, not constantly questioning what's real and what's not. Manipulation can be incredibly damaging because it makes you feel like you're the one who's responsible for the problems in the relationship. You start to feel like you're the one who's flawed, rather than recognizing that your partner's behavior is the real issue. Manipulation can also make you feel trapped, like you can't leave the relationship because you're not sure what's real and what's not. It's a clever tactic used by emotional abusers to keep their partners in line. When your partner starts restricting your interactions with friends and family, that's a major red flag. This can be a classic sign of emotional abuse, as they try to isolate you from the people who care about you. They might say things like, "You don't need them," or "They're not good for you," but the truth is, they're just trying to control who you talk to and what you do. This type of behavior can be incredibly damaging because it makes you feel like you're completely dependent on your partner. You start to feel like you can't make decisions for yourself or have your own relationships outside of the one with your partner. If you find yourself constantly asking for permission to do things or feeling guilty for spending time with friends and family, that's a major warning sign. You should feel free to make your own decisions and have your own relationships, not be controlled by your partner. Restricting your interactions with others can also make you feel like you're living in a bubble, with no one to turn to for support. It's a clever tactic used by emotional abusers to keep their partners trapped. Gaslighting is another common sign of emotional abuse. This is when your partner makes you question your own perceptions, memory, or sanity. They might say things like, "You're just being paranoid," or "You're overreacting," even when you know you're not. Gaslighting can be incredibly damaging because it makes you feel like you're going crazy. You start to doubt your own judgment and uncertainty, and you begin to feel like you're losing your grip on reality. If you find yourself constantly questioning your own perceptions or feelings, that's a major red flag. You should feel confident in your own judgment, not constantly second-guessing yourself. Gaslighting can also make you feel like you're walking on eggshells, waiting for the next criticism or attack. It's a vicious cycle that can be incredibly hard to break. Emotional neglect is another sign of emotional abuse. This is when your partner withholds affection, support, or intimacy as a form of punishment or control. They might say things like, "I'm not in the mood," or "You don't deserve it," but the truth is, they're just trying to manipulate you. If you find yourself constantly trying to get your partner's attention or affection only to be met with rejection or indifference, that's a major warning sign. You should feel loved, supported, and nurtured in your relationship, not constantly trying to prove yourself worthy. Emotional neglect can also lead to feelings of anxiety and depression. You start to feel like you're not good enough, like you're not worthy of love. Unpredictable responses are another common sign of emotional abuse. This is when your partner's behavior is inconsistent and unpredictable, making you feel like you're walking on eggshells. They might be loving and affectionate one minute only to be cold and distant the next. If you find yourself constantly trying to anticipate your partner's moods or reactions, that's a major red flag. You should feel safe and secure in your relationship, not constantly trying to navigate a minefield of emotions. Unpredictable responses can also make you feel like you're living in a state of constant anxiety, waiting for the next explosion or argument. It's a vicious cycle that can be incredibly hard to break. Jealousy is another sign of emotional abuse. This can manifest in many ways, from your partner accusing you of flirting with others to monitoring your every move. They might say things like, "You're not allowed to talk to him," or "You're being too friendly," but the truth is, they're just trying to control you. If you find yourself constantly explaining your actions or justifying your behavior, that's a major warning sign. You should feel free to make your own decisions and have your own relationships, not be controlled by your partner's jealousy. Jealousy can also make you feel like you're trapped, like you can't leave the relationship because your partner will get angry or hurt. It's a classic tactic used by emotional abusers to keep their partners in line. Now that we've covered the 7 key signs of emotional abuse, it's essential to recognize that these behaviors are never okay. You deserve to be treated with love, respect, and kindness in your relationship. If you find yourself in a situation where you're constantly walking on eggshells, feeling belittled, or doubting your own reality, it's time to take a step back and reevaluate the relationship. Remember, you are not alone, and there is help available. Don't be afraid to reach out to friends, family, or a therapist for support. You deserve to be happy and fulfilled in your relationship. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video has helped you recognize the signs of emotional abuse. If you have any personal experiences you'd like to share, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.